This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Junior.
The Mexican Rey Fenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open.
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 Boston Wide Open.
Busted Wide Open. Thank you.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome, everybody, to BWO Live, coming to you from across the Busted Wide Open universe of Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. This is the SummerSlam recap. What we just finished watching, Ian, WWE SummerSlam. My name is Nick Howell.
And I'm Sir Ian Dangerous, and yes, we did just finish WWE's long SummerSlam. We haven't had a show that long from WWE in a minute, and WrestleMania was split into 2 nights of 3. This was 4 hours long, and felt every hour of it. My goodness, Nick, that was a lot of show. We're not used to doing those big old shows anymore. Remember WrestleManias were 6 hours?
Yeah.
6!
Yeah.
6 hours, and now 4 if you're just like, ugh, come on. But it was a big show. Lots happened. Lots to discuss, Nick. But before we get into that, let's do a little business, and then we will talk about this show, because big returns, title changes, all kinds of stuff. SummerSlam, they definitely did not want people to come away without things to talk about. We got things to talk about. So let's do some business, and we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Yes, linktree.com/BWO is the one-stop shop. That's all where all of our stuff is at. You can find all the links to all of our social medias, our YouTube channel, our merch store where you can pick up some cool merch. You can find links to our Patreon to support the show. You can find links to our YouTube channel where you can watch VODs and even join up as a member over there and live chat there. What's up, YouTube? I see you guys over there. But yeah, linktree.com/BWO is the place to find all of that stuff. It's the one link you need to save. Bookmark that. Head over there. Like, share, subscribe, follow. Do all the things that you guys know how to do in these days of the social medias. It really helps, and we really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Ian, it's late here. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little blown up. Not only was that really a long show, it's been a long day. Nick did a bunch of yard work today to catch up that he was 2 or 3 weeks behind after trying to buy a house for the last month. It's I'm a little.
So you're bored, is what you're saying. You were bored. Your life is boring right now. Is what you're saying.
My life, no. That show, we need to talk about that show.
Okay. Do you want to take a second to soapbox on it?
Yeah, I think Nick needs a minute.
Okay.
I think I want to start this out by saying everything that I'm about to say are the kinds of things I don't want us to be known for saying.
Oh.
They're the kind of things that we hear other shows out there that would normally we would shun because it feeds the tribalism and it feeds the animosity, and it doesn't do the wrestling community any good. But God damn it, I was bored.
You didn't have a good time tonight?
And well, before we get to that, I want to say last night, coming off of our Friday night show, even though it was 1:30 a.m. for me, I was live, I was hot, I had a blast. I loved doing our pick'ems. I thought those went really well.
You were hyped for SummerSlam. You were hyped for this show.
SummerSlam. SummerSlam's one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. So, so I was hyped. I was excited going into it. I looked down the match card. I was like, there are some really good opportunities for some swerves here. There are some really good opportunities to take advantage of here. And I went into it really excited. And I'll admit, we had to get through the first few matches of kind of mundane. We expected that kind of stuff that we've been watching on Raw and SmackDown for the last couple of months.
Well, we said when we were doing our pick'ems for these matches, there are some that we just know are not going to be that great. They're a rematch of a bunch of rematches. We know they're just not going to, or the feud is not that good. Like, WWE has had a pretty miraculous run of, by and large, having great pay-per-views after awful builds for a minute now. And I unfortunately, Nick, I tend to agree. SummerSlam was not one of those. There was definitely a couple of very well-worked matches. There was a couple of big moments to varying degrees of success, which we'll talk about. But by and large, yeah, this was a pretty bummer of a card. Like there were some very solid matches. We'll talk about those. We'll talk about it all. But I appreciate you saying that, Nick, because again, we don't want to be the super negative show. We don't want to come across as screw WWE or anything like that, because that's definitely not it. But man, when they don't deliver, the idea with WWE, their mentality these days seems to be less about let us tell these long-term stories in good faith and try to pay them off in a way that satisfies the audience, and more about what can we do that's really cool right now. And people will, whatever equity we've built up over the last few years, wherever that is, whatever we've lucked into through talent or, the stories we do get, far enough along that people get engaged, the characters that they get engaged in, what can we do to make people go, ooh, cool, right now? It's a very short-term thing, but they've coasted on that for a long time for the most part, with the exception of a couple of great long-term stories they've been able to pull off. And tonight felt like one of those nights where they just didn't have enough of those ooh, cool moments. Or when they did have them, they bungled them. And I agree, Nick. Going in this, it's going to be hard to not come across like a WWE bashing podcast, because that's not what we want to be. That's not what we are. But when they do stumble, we're going to call it out. And I think you and I both agree. They stumbled tonight on a few things, on the whole show, but then on a few specific things in particular. There were a couple of bright spots. Let's be clear. A couple of things that I think they totally nailed. But in context of everything else in the show, it was too little too late.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Oh, I have so much to say. And I think rather than me stand up here on my pulpit at the top of the show, look, overall, guys, I'm not going to lie. There are matches that I muted. There are moments throughout the show that I got up and just went to the kitchen. There's a moment I got up and went to the restroom a couple of times in the middle of a couple of matches. There was a point that we will talk about where I simply checked out. And it was about a third of the way into the show, and the sad part about this is that I had to struggle bust my way through the rest of it. They killed my energy. They absolutely took all of my interest in the rest of the show away. And I will call that out when we get to it. But it was tough. And it was especially tough because I went into it really hyped about it. I was really excited about SummerSlam.
Well, let's get into it.
Yes, get into it.
Why wait any long? We've done the preface. We've done the setup. Let's knock it out, and let's talk about WWE SummerSlam.
Well, to kick things off, we got a surprise kickoff show match. I didn't see
Nick,
this coming.
Hold on. Time out. I'm just going to say something right now.
Yeah.
Like we just kind of hinted at. There was a bunch of matches on this show that just didn't matter. Like they don't. Like, we could just say like this was a match. This happened. And just leave it at that pretty much. Like that's a little match. We had a pre-show match. Baron Corbin with his Money in the Bank briefcase facing Big E, and Big E beat him and got his briefcase back. That was the match.
Yeah.
It was just it was a basic TV match. Big E got his briefcase back, and any hope that we had of an interesting, ironic, history-relating story that would have been beautiful poetry happening in the main event was gone. Baron Corbin no longer had the briefcase and couldn't cost John Cena his championship, calling back to John Cena costing Corbin his Money in the Bank cash-in. That gone by the pre-show. Oh, that awesome story thing that you and I booked, Nick, that would have been really cool and had some cool callback notes, gone. Okay,
we know
cool.
why now.
We do know why now. And again, in hindsight, I guess they had to. They had Corbin grab the briefcase in case they couldn't play ball. And so they had a backup plan, and then they were like, cool, we don't need the backup plan, just scrap it.
What was going to happen, though?
That's what happened.
If Corbin won, was he going to get to keep the briefcase?
No, they just wouldn't have had this match. How many matches could they have just like done on the spot here? And they just chose to do this one. Okay,
let's talk about the ones that matter. Big E and Baron Corbin had a match on the kickoff show.
Yeah,
Big E won.
Big E got his briefcase.
He got his briefcase back.
Yeah,
and,
they're not doing
scene.
anything else with the poor guy.
Yeah.
This is honestly the curse of the Money in the Bank briefcase. You get it, and they don't want to do anything with you for fear that you're going to overexpose the briefcase before they're ready to do something with you, but then they're not ready to do something with you when you have the briefcase. So, I don't know. We'll come back to this at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the actual show itself. We go to the actual show. RK Bro versus AJ Styles and Omos to start off the show. I thought this was absolutely the right call to start the show. Very popular tag team coming out first.
As soon as I saw they were starting the show with it, they were pulling the curtain with it, it made all the sense in the world.
Open the show with the hometown boy, Matt Riddle. Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not? Huge pop. He's wearing snakeskin green outfit. Randy comes out. Seems like he's a little bit more in tune with the whole RK Bro thing. They come out of the ring. AJ and Omos with a nice little pop. Everyone's hyped. Ah, whoa, Jesus Christ. He's here right now. Where is he? He's everywhere. Matt Riddle's everywhere.
He is omniscient.
He is the bro is everywhere. That is so incredibly creepy. But no, this was a fun little match. It was crowd pleasing. It was exactly what it needed to be. Omos looked like a beast as always. As we said, AJ Styles is the weak link of that team. And of course, at the end, Matt Riddle isolates Omos outside. It's so weird to say, but here we are, 2021. You're a strange year. Omos gets isolated outside by Matt Riddle. Inside, we have a little bit of a back and forth. AJ Styles eats an RKO. And 1, 2, 3, Randy and Riddle are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. The crowd goes nuts. The boys pose. Everyone's happy. Seemed like SummerSlam was off to a good start. You and I both picked this because it made sense. As we said on our Pick'em show, they had the momentum. And it just made sense to strap them here. Strap them while they're hot. This was a smart booking decision. Full stop. Nothing else to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next match was Eva Marie versus Alexa Bliss. We thought it was going to be the worst match on the show. It was the worst match on the show.
Yep.
It was exactly what we thought, except they actually did less than we thought they were going to do. We thought there was going to be some sort of little thing where Lily was going to come to life or they were going to have some sort of creepy doll thing. And no, Eva Marie slapped the doll around the middle of the match. It pissed off Alexa Bliss. She beats Eva Marie. Eva Marie gets tossed outside. Dewdrop says into the microphone, and your loser is Eva Marie, puts on Eva Marie's robe, and then walks away. And that was it. All of that for nothing. No Lily payoff, no supernatural bullshit. All of that's going away. Alexa Bliss is just a crazy wrestler with a doll. And Dewdrop, who's been kind of turning on Eva Marie over and over and over again, is turning on her again. Will they be back together on Monday Night Raw? Who cares?
Yep.
Worst thing in WWE right now.
Yep. The only redeemable thing to take away from this is that Dewdrop put her jacket on and memed her thing.
Right.
And the loser of this match,
Right.
Eva Marie.
That's the only notable thing.
If I could pull any positive away from that, it's Viper Niven looking like she's kind of taking control of her own destiny.
Just to be clear, we know it's Piper Niven. We just call her that to try and meld everything together.
Yeah.
The Viper Niven.
Yeah.
Viper.
Yeah.
Viper Piper Niven.
Viper Niven.
But here's the thing. She's teased breaking up for Eva Marie before. Until she's solo, I can't bring myself to care. Please get her away from Eva Marie. Stop this nonsense. Stop this.
Eva Marie is wrestling cancer. She needs to get the fuck out of the business. I don't know what the hell. Everybody, but she's really
and this
pretty.
Alexa gimmick is dead. Let it die.
Put her in a time machine and send her back to 2006 where they give a shit about that. We like wrestling now. We don't need Eva Marie in wrestling anymore.
Eva Marie appeals to a certain demographic of the audience, Nick. She has a whole ton of followers on Instagram and social media. She is a valuable asset to the WWE. That's the company line. I'm just going to say that right now. At the end of the day, this was a waste of time. It was a waste of space on the show. I can't believe it was there. And overall, I'm sad that I watched it.
Yep.
Next up was Damien Priest versus Sheamus for the U.S. By the way, on the last one, we had a pick'ems. Was the doll was going to figure into the finish because that would actually make sense. It would advance the story. That didn't even happen. So all of that doll stuff was worse than bad. It was pointless. We didn't even pay off on any of the investment that we were supposed to.
No, even where he just took it and smacked Alexa Bliss across the face a couple of times.
With it. Yeah. It was, again, pointless, useless. They didn't pay off anything. Terrible. F-. Damien Priest versus Sheamus. Thank God this followed it up. An actual good match with
Sorry,
guys
I just read something in chat. I just
wrestle.
made me busted. Put Eva and Goldberg on a boat and sink it to the bottom of the... Come on, man! That's just mean.
I see the value in Goldberg.
Touche. Touche.
Oh, Damien Priest and Sheamus had a match for the U.S. title.
It was all right.
We were, dude, the only reason this match wasn't better than what it was because of where it was on the card.
Yeah.
And where they were, they're not allowed to go full ham.
They had to follow that horse shit that was before it.
They brought the crowd back for it, too.
Yeah.
That man, those floor seats were half empty for that match previous to this. This one, the audience started off like, okay, all right. And then by the end, the audience gave a crap. Sheamus also, by the way, doing some great heel work, getting the crowd into this, pissing them off.
Broke up the 10 beats of the Bowery as they were counting, and he went,
Bowery.
Brilliant.
And then starts cussing out the crowd and got them alive again for the finish of the match. Sheamus, absolute professional with that stuff. Great job. Damien Priest as the babyface getting beaten down for most of this match. He took a nasty bump
Headbutt.
earlier in this match.
Hard way headbutt from Sheamus.
But it was also, he did that springboard to the outside where he just, Sheamus like kind of half caught his legs and he just went boom on the ground.
It's like a somersault over the top rope and just Sheamus didn't catch him.
Yeah. Out of
position or something.
Move. That's a dangerous move. You can't really get a whole lot of forward momentum on it.
Yeah.
And so Sheamus just Sheamus didn't want to be closer because Damien would have hit his head on the ring. So it was just that's how it is. And Damien Priest had the wing knocked out of him for a minute. But then the match got real chippy towards the end, nice and stiff. It's Sheamus. Of course it's stiff. Damien Priest can take that. He gives it back.
Punishment Martinez, for God's sakes. You want to work a snug match? He'll go with you.
Two-time Guru Karate National Champion. You're damn right he'll go snug with you.
Yeah.
So by the ending of this match, it just came down to Sheamus getting a nice heel hook on Priest, couldn't reach the ropes. So Priest just sat up, ripped off Sheamus' mask, and beat him about the head and shoulders. And then pulled him up in the corner, beat him up again, and then gave him the reckoning. And that was it. Damien Priest is your new U.S. champion. I love the hulking up finish of this match. I thought they did, again, a great job with where they were in the card. It was exactly what it needed to be for these two characters and this place in the card. Couldn't ask for better for what it was supposed to be.
I was really happy how I wrestled in this match.
God, Mr. Priest, you're here.
Yes.
You made it back.
I'm here.
I thought you'd be. You're in Vegas. I thought you'd be partying in
it's
hot
still
tubs.
early. I'm here with the ladies in the hot tub. We got the champagne going. It's a good time.
Nice. Oh, congratulations, sir. We called for you to win. We both knew you were going to win this match.
Oh, thank you.
How are you feeling after taking that beating from Sheamus? Are you a little sore over there, or?
My head hurts a little bit, but other than that, no, I'm fine.
Oh, that's very good to hear. So what are your plans going forward with the U.S. title? Are you going to have a rematch with Sheamus, or how are you going to proceed forward as the U.S. champion?
I hear Morrison needs something to do right now because that whole drip thing is getting a little long in the tooth.
Also your feud with him is getting long in the tooth. Seems you guys have been feuding since before WrestleMania. Do you think maybe like a Keith Lee feud might be on the horizon?
Now you're talking.
When you say it in your voice, sir, it just sounds even dirtier than I think meant. But
What was that?
I don't know. Keith Lee's everywhere too.
Oh, God.
But thank you for coming by the show.
I gotta go ice myself.
Yeah, go ice and put some ice in that champagne and have a wonderful night, Mr. Priest.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Wow, that was really cool of him to stop by.
That is really cool of him. I figured after this match, he as he just said, I figured he'd be busy, but always got time for Busted Wide Open. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
That's very nice of him. And I'm excited for him versus Keith Lee, if that does indeed materialize, and hopefully not running back freaking Morrison, which we've seen him do time and time again, which is great. They're both great workers, but we've seen it. Move on. Yeah. Good Lord. Do we have any catching up to do, sir, before we move on to the next match?
Esme threw in 100 bits, said bits for Damien appearance. Congrats. Thank you very much, Esme. Kyle, I see yours. I'm going to save it for the end of the show, brother.
Thank you very much, Miss Esme. Yes, it's always nice to have a Damien Priest appearance. Yeah. Although sometimes I feel like it sounds like Darth Vader. It's the weirdest thing. The next match on the card, the Mysterios versus the Usos. A match we've seen multiple times, and also multiple times in singles matches. And
this better go somewhere. Like this.
It's where?
Nick booking aside, I'm talking about this better lead to something some breakup angle between Dom and Ray. It needs to do something to evolve. We've been doing this since Wrestle Freaking Mania, it feels like.
It's a goddamn pay-per-view. The Usos versus the Mysterios. They didn't do anything that I haven't seen before.
Exactly.
Ray got pinned again. They didn't even try to pay off the cheating angle. Nothing meant nothing, man. Nothing means nothing, man. Nothing meant nothing.
I don't have a Macho Man button over here, unfortunately.
Instead of having anything meaningful happen at the end, the Usos just won and they walked off. There was no story payoff here. There was no callback to anything that had happened. You could have watched any match on SmackDown that they had, and it would have been... they would have been the same damn thing. This
same thing.
Meant nothing. This was a nothing match that meant nothing on a show that things should mean something.
Yeah.
And I wanted these.
Well said.
These guys are all extremely talented. The match, as far as like how they worked, was fine. It just was meaningless. It was a waste of time.
12-minute TV match. It just whatever. It didn't matter. Didn't matter.
Did not matter.
Whoa, we've got a Nick Guard 1 sighting. Esme just picked up a BWO logo tee. Thank you very much, Esme.
Nice. Thank you, Miss Esme.
Yes, thank you very much.
Back to the chat.
Thank you, Nick Guard 1, for the delivery there. Appreciate it.
I don't even have anything more to say about Usos Mysterios because there was nothing else to talk about. It was a match. It happened. Same match we had on SmackDown.
That's sad to say. The Usos, 7-time champions against Rey Mysterio and Dominic Guerrero.
It's
supposed to mean...
Wait a minute, sir.
Yes.
How dare you? How dare you?
I snuck that one in on you.
Nice. Well played. But again, like, you're booking. You want to see Dom turn on Ray, some sort of weird daddy angle, come back, whatever.
Right. You're not my real dad is the one I'm betting on.
They had the opportunity to show that at the end. They did nothing. Nothing happened. It did not mean anything. The same way, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs coming out. Boogs introducing Nakamura to everyone. They come out and dance on the announcer's desk with Pat McAfee.
So time out real quick.
It meant nothing.
We were thinking, we had been hearing on Twitter, Sean Ross Sapp was reporting from a source that Sasha was not going to be there due to some level of COVID protocol. We don't really have the full story. And then in the spot that Sasha and Bianca were supposed to be, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here's Rick Boogs in the ring, working 50,000 fans with his guitar and doing all. And I went, did we hot shot an Intercontinental title match somehow into the middle of this card that we didn't know about before?
That was my thought, is we were going to cancel the Bianca-Sasha match because Sasha is AWOL for some reason, which we still don't know why. We don't know if it's COVID. We don't know if it's something else. I figure if it were COVID, they would have known further in advance and not, but we don't know when they knew what they knew.
I've heard all kinds of range of stuff. I just don't want us to report on something that we can't confirm at this
all
point.
I know is that they either timed everything out and said, we can't add a few more minutes to these matches. We're going to just throw in a 10-minute Boogs and Nakamura segment to kill time so that when we do ultimately have Bianca come out, where we have less time to kill, hey, clown show, go out there and make the crowd happy. And that's what they did. They went out there and clowned around, and that was it.
Pat McAfee up and Boogs up on the table dancing around, and then they rolled a video package for Bianca. And I was just like,
your
what?
Intercontinental Champion is out there doing a clown show. Literally,
your Intercontinental Champion, one of the most prestigious titles in the history of wrestling, is a court jester.
Shinsuke Nakamura, one of the most important wrestlers in the history of New Japan, is out there doing what, if you were at a circus, this would be when the clowns come out with the big red noses, all pile out of the car, fart in each other and eat bananas, and then run off to the back before you have the lion tamers come out. That's what this was. And I understand they're trying to kill time, but it was just kind of, it's very exemplary of a lot of stuff
You could have had Reggie come out with the 24/7 title and the Geeks chasing him. You could have had something else that was actually intended for this kind of stuff, not the Intercontinental title. I'm tired of the Intercontinental title getting disrespected.
Things went from bad to worse to amazing to awful after this, Nick, because we were hearing that Sasha wasn't there, but Bianca came out. Well, I guess it's happening after all.
They played the full video package of Bianca and Sasha.
They set it all up as though it was gonna happen, and it wasn't until Bianca got in the ring and her music quieted down that I don't even know if her music was done yet. And Greg Hamilton gets on the mic and says, "Unfortunately, Sasha Banks is unable to compete tonight. So in her place, instead, the most beautiful woman in WWE, Carmella." This poor woman. Carmella is not my favorite WWE superstar by any stretch. Don't think I'm defending her because of anything to do with that. This is just simple human empathy. This woman comes out to a crowd that wanted Sasha versus Bianca, has already seen Carmella lose to Bianca multiple times, doesn't care about her, doesn't like her that much to begin with, and not heel heat, the bad kind of we just don't care heat, because that's what WWE has built her into by making us not care about her. So she already comes out. She's already got a bad rep from the crowd, and now she's stepping into this unenviable position. Gets to the ring, just trying to build up the heel heat from the crowd. The crowd is just like, "You've got it." They're booing this shit. They're like, "We're going to get Bianca versus Carmella
again.
Instead, this is what you're going to give us instead, because you've already spent this equity on SmackDown. You can't do this again, WWE. We just saw this literally last Friday, and Carmella's been beaten summarily by Bianca multiple times, including immediately after beating somebody else. This is hot garbage." But the bad times for Carmella didn't end there, because as she and Bianca are about to start their match, Becky Lynch's music hits. And out comes the man. Roof comes off the Allegiant Stadium. We have had a weekend of massive goddamn pops. We've had 3 absolutely insane pops this weekend. Did I say 3? That's right, there's another one. This was number 2. Becky Lynch comes back, returns to the WWE, looks amazing. The experience, she came out, just exuded Becky Lynch charisma. The crowd's going nuts. She walks to the ring. Place is going absolutely batshit. She beats the crap out of poor Carmella, who was just there collecting a paycheck. So
you know what?
Carmella,
at least she got a SummerSlam paycheck, with condolences to Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega.
Touche. She comes out. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, Bianca and Becky tag team against Zelina and Carmella, and at least everyone gets a paycheck and we have a match. Nope, Carmella gets tossed. Thanks for coming, Carmella. First you get humiliated, then you get humiliated and jobbed out. Thanks so much. Goodbye. You may collect your paycheck on the way out.
There was a cute moment. Becky pointed at Bianca and said, I'll be right back. I'm glad they caught that.
Cute. Very typical Becky Lynch, putting interesting moments into things. She comes back in, though, points at the championship and grabs a mic and says, "Hey, so I'm back, and how about you and I have a little match for that SmackDown Women's Championship?" And Bianca goes, "I would love to." She's fangirling out. She's having a great time. I'm so excited. It's Becky Lynch. Yay. They ring the bell. Becky Lynch, they look like they're going for a hug. She punches Bianca in the face, gives her new finisher, which is essentially a pump handle slam. And 1, 2, 3, Becky squashes Bianca and is your new SmackDown champion immediately after returning to WWE.
This is where Nick's going to climb up on his pulpit again.
The crowd goes from, wow, we're so excited, what a moment. This incredible star that we love that's coming back after so long is meeting this beautiful new star who we've just fallen in love with, who is so incredible that we love so much. And WWE goes, "I know, isn't it cool? Fuck your new star." "Oh, did you like her? Fuck her. Old star gets the belt. Get out of here, new star. We'll deal with you later." What was this? Crowd was sitting there still cheering for Becky, but they're also going, "Yay! What? Yay? Huh? Okay, cool. Yay, man. But Bianca, what?" Nick, get in the pulpit. What's going on?
Are you pulling my string now?
Go for it.
Okay. Over the last, year and a half, we have effectively annihilated the entire women's division in multiple ways. across the entirety of WWE, except for kind of with exception of NXT. They've still got a very strong women's division down there, but it's feeling the effects. We basically have 3, maybe 4 if we're lucky, female superstars that are relevant and used on both Raw and SmackDown each. You have someone in Bianca Belair that is not one of the 4 horsewomen that you have leaned on like a crutch for the last, 5+ years. And you've heard me parrot over and over and over and over again that at some point Vince is going to have to realize that he's going to have to move on from the 4 horsewomen of NXT. Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte, Becky. You have one superstar here that has actually made it. And yes, I'm counting Rhea Ripley in this because I don't think she's made it yet. Bianca Belair has made it through the filter. She's come through. She's absolutely loved by the crowd, gets huge pops, looks like a star when she comes out. Awesome. The one that you had above and beyond the 4 horsewomen of NXT that actually made it to that status, you just punked and told us she's irrelevant. We don't need to care about her anymore. Ha ha. 4 horsewomen of NXT. And we weren't done with that. We're going to talk about that some more later.
May I interrupt?
But just one more thing. One more thing.
Yeah, please. Go.
The fact that Carmella has been thrown up against Bianca numerous times like this and not once has been taken seriously by the fans or by us as a legitimate threat, even though she's I'm going to do air quotes and say 2-time Money in the Bank winner and former WWE SmackDown Women's Champion, is insulting. And I'm not Carmella's biggest fan. But when you do it to not only Carmella, who's a former champion, and the current champion, just to bring Becky Lynch back and give her a Brock Lesnar, Kofi Kingston-esque squash in the middle of SummerSlam, you've basically told me exactly what I'm supposed to feel about Bianca Belair. If you don't care, how am I supposed to care?
So
that's my rant.
Counterpoint. Because here, when we were starting the show, one of the things I mentioned was WWE is not consistent with paying off storylines, right? They ask us often to invest, or they plan to do a storyline, and they're not always good at following through with it.
What story?
But they consistently book things as though, okay, well, don't worry, we'll fix this down the road. Now, in this particular instance, and again, I was pretty hot when this happened too, because for a company that lives and dies on moments, they sure create moments that make you feel pretty weird. And I was so excited when Becky came back, and then the squash happened, and I was like, oh, no, don't feel so good about that. I'm not happy with that. But then, of course, Woo-saw, took some deep breaths, stepped back, and said, okay, why did we do that? And the reason we did that, I think, first of all, they played it like Bianca got caught out, like she was just not ready for Becky, and Becky just, boom, overwhelmed her, and Bianca was like, what the hell just happened? She was fangirling out, she wasn't in her headspace or whatever, and she got punked out, like you said. Straight up, she got punked out. You can ever come back on SmackDown this week and be like, Becky, you got me. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. I'm ready for you now. And you know what's more interesting than Bianca being champ and Becky chasing? Bianca chasing Becky because Becky punked her out. That's a better storyline. And they had to set it up that way, because here's the thing. If you have any kind of match between Bianca and Becky, if it's any kind of competitive match, at some point, if on the night that Becky comes back, anything more than a move or two, crowd's going to turn on Bianca. And you don't want that. You do not want the crowd turning on Bianca for those exact reasons you said, Nick. If they want her to be the future, you can't have them turn on her.
They're not going to turn on Becky either. So this kind of tweener pseudo heel turn kind of thing, you're not going to work with Becky either.
But they can set up a story where they won't turn on Becky and they won't turn on Bianca. They can cheer for them both, or whatever they want to do with it. They can set it up so that it's more established what's happening and we know what we're supposed to feel, as opposed to, yeah, we're so happy Becky's here. Why is Bianca fighting her? Right? Do it quick, painless, rip off the Band-Aid. That's what this felt like to me in hindsight, if that's what WWE's going for. Now, again, the caveat, WWE, not so good at paying off bigger storylines. Very dangerous for them to do this. And it's something that we could come back in a few weeks, a few months and be like, yep, WWE screwed the pooch again on that one. And in the moment, it did not feel good. It definitely tarnished the Becky comeback. It totally tarnished the Becky comeback. People remember that as being an awesome pop and then a really weird moment that made a lot of people unhappy and the internet blew up. But it could be something where we go, but it's okay because it led into a really awesome feud. So just a bit of that
is hella optimistic of you to think.
I'm Nick. I'm trying, man.
I don't trust it.
I'm trying.
They've given me no reason to trust it. Kyle's got a couple here I wanted to call out. Threw in 100 bits, said Punk returns to the biggest reaction ever and puts over Britt Baker in the AEW locker room. Becky returns and squashes Bianca in one move. Everything wrong with this company in one moment. If Becky was in ring ready, don't bring her in for a last-second match. Asuka lives in Vegas. You used her last minute like that regardless of brand before. JFC. Yeah.
And you know what? Honestly, Asuka would have been a much better option, but and then have Becky come back at the end of the match and challenge. But then again, how do you have Bianca? Like it's not as good of a dynamic to have Bianca holding and Becky chasing.
And you couldn't do the Asuka Becky thing because the Raw Women's Championship's busy right now.
And speaking of Asuka, someone who's broken through that's not a 4-horsewoman. It's Asuka and Alexa Bliss, like the two other ones. But at the same time, this was definitely a big readjustment, return to status quo, and it felt in the moment for sure, and it definitely took me out of the show as well. It felt like WWE resetting and saying, hey, all that new stuff we were trying out, no, we're going back to the status quo that you liked a few years ago. So here you go, enjoy it. Sorry for all these new things that you thought you liked.
Where's the Men in Black pin? I'm gonna put my sunglasses on and boop, forget everything you've seen. I want to go back to something Kyle said here, and at the risk of feeding into some of that stuff I was saying at the beginning of the show, we can finally talk about this, even though we did last night. Punk comes back last night, puts up the bat signal, puts out a message to all the other wrestlers out there that, hey, there's a lot of young talent back here to come work with.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are making me feel like Britt Baker in Pittsburgh. Thank you for that. And puts over Darby Allin. Dude, you're for real. You're legit. I've seen you get thrown downstairs, and I want to go with you. Or are you, all that stuff.
Do you know why he put over Britt Baker, by the way? Funny little trivia.
It's probably irrelevant, but yeah.
Well, she was at the Royal Rumble. That was his last match.
Right. That's a good point.
She was in the crowd. It's an interesting little.
Wasn't she also at one of Cole's takeovers? Right as AEW was firing up or something like that?
Yeah. And they were like, whoa, God, they showed her.
Oh, don't show her.
Whoa, go. Camera off her. What are you doing? No, but yeah, I get what you're saying with the juxtaposition. And it certainly is a juxtaposition.
It's kind of telling of the different attitudes of the different companies.
Well, and that's the thing is you said it at the beginning, at the risk of inciting further tribalism. Either you're okay with WWE doing stuff like this, and then you have to hope that they're going to follow it up, but you get superstars like Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch, or you look at AEW that's very much like lovey-dovey, all-inclusive. We're trying to put everybody over and make everybody happy, but they're not on that same level. They don't feel like as big of a deal. They're not the big leagues yet. They're not, and that's the difference right now. And you know what? We can watch both of them. It's a great big wide world, and we can enjoy both of them. And we can also sit here and debate this because this is definitely some questionable shit.
Here's what I'll say about
whatever we say at the end.
Your Bianca Becky booking. Skeptically optimistic, as always.
Skeptically optimistic.
Skeptically optimistic.
Skeptically optimistic.
Cal threw in another 100 bits, said, if I could trust WWE main roster as a long-term storyteller, I could see this leading to the NXT trio versus the remaining healthy 4 horsewomen. But I don't trust WWE because the last 5 years have told me I shouldn't whatsoever. You want to do this, earn the benefit of the doubt first. NXT could get away with this. AEW could, not Vince. It's kind of the crux of it.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Is that I shouldn't trust WWE. They have shown that they're not reliable with this. But if that's what they're going for, then I'm going to wait and see.
Yeah.
But in the moment, and WWE loves its moments, it definitely didn't feel very good.
It did not. And it took me completely out of a match that we've kind of been fantasy booking for the last 6 months or so.
Yep.
Which was the
even
next
if
one.
it's and even if it's ripping off a Band-Aid, man, it hurt to rip off that Band-Aid.
Yeah. I
Drew McIntyre.
I had to leave the room and go put some ointment on that, because it did a lot of damage in the middle of a show that I was really excited about.
It stung.
I never recovered after that moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You didn't recover for Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal? Another match didn't really matter. I thought something funny. I was like, they've got to do something with this match. We've had Drew basically dominating Jinder and his boys for the last few weeks. At some point, I figured Jinder had to at least get one on Drew, because he stole Drew's sword and destroyed it, and Drew's like, I was a fake. Like, there was at no point did Jinder get a single thing over on Drew in this entire feud. And I figured,
not once has he been a threat.
Not once. And we're supposed to feel like Drew is like, yeah, Jinder, I'm really mad at you because you're a threat to me. You've never been a threat to Drew. Ever. Drew dismantled him in this match. He was begging off. Drew just destroyed him. And the crowd was still so freaked out and weirded out by the whole Bianca and Becky thing that they were like, we don't know what to do. We don't really care about this because this feud sucks. And you haven't given us any reason to care. I picked Jinder here. The first thing that we disagreed on this whole show, I picked Jinder here because I was like, there's no way they can't have nothing happen here. Excuse me for the double negative. There's no way they can have nothing happen here. They had nothing happen here. Another match like Usos and Mysterios. I figured there'd be some sort of story. Nope. Drew beats the shit out of Jinder. Jinder's boys come out. Drew gets his sword, chases them off with the sword.
He swung it at it. He swung a 6-foot broadsword at a 7-foot man. What if he had not gone over the ropes cleanly, and somehow he full swung a giant broadsword at that man?
Drew, you're running. You're on your way to a fine, my friend. You're going to get fined for this. Be careful.
I fully expect them to be back to Monday night on Raw. Just doing the same kind of shit. They're going to keep doing this.
I wanted Drew versus Jinder, not like this.
I wanted it to have some kind of stakes. I was hoping that it would be around the title. I wanted there to be some kind of thing.
Or just be competitive in some way.
Yeah.
This was boring. It had no purpose. It had no meaning.
Story. There was a moment in the match where Jinder stopped and looked up at him and begged off and said, What happened? We were boys. Yeah. We were brothers once. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe this could go somewhere. Maybe they stop the match. Maybe they do something and they realize the error in their way. Nope. 3, 2, 1, Claymore done.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Cool. Next, we had Charlotte Flair versus Nikki Ash, almost a superhero, almost, versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship.
I tried to tell y'all last night, but you just wouldn't listen.
Nick, you know how you said I was optimistic? You know I said I was optimistic?
Yeah.
Because I believed. And this is the thing. I always get caught up in my pick'ems, either by being too optimistic or too pessimistic.
Yeah.
And this is one where I got optimistic, where I was like, you know what? Maybe WWE will get behind this new project they have in Nikki ASH. Maybe they will see that this is a character that's saying, try your hardest, be all you can be, do your best, always keep fighting. And if you do, even you can succeed. Even you will find success, and you can almost be a superhero as well. And they're going to get behind that and show that her words had meaning. Her belief in herself had meaning. But ladies and gentlemen, WWE is telling you with this match, if you believe in yourself, if you try to be all you can be, if you rise up against the odds and fight the good fight, then you too can be stacked and tapped out by someone who is genetically superior to you, who has better political pull backstage, and who's a worker that is more popular with the company. You too can be bitched out on a major pay-per-view and have your gimmick absolutely thrown back in your face and be jobbed out and look like a punk and be tossed back into catering with the rest of the slime. So believe in yourself, kids, because it won't fucking matter at the end of the day. This was horse crap. Horse crap. Charlotte Flair, this match was all about her, first of all.
Yep.
all about her. This was 2-on-1. The faces facing the supposed heel.
This might as well have been a 1-on-2 handicap match.
This was like a handicap match.
Yeah.
Only the baby face who was supposed to be facing the two heels was the heel facing the two baby faces. The two baby faces couldn't take out the heel, and the heel was doing the big spots and getting all the adulation, and then tapped out the weaker face. What? And Charlotte, again, status quo has been restored. The Four Horsewomen have titles again. Charlotte's got her 18 millionth title, which she totally needed, or she was going to walk to AEW with her boyfriend. So Charlotte's got a title again. Nikki Ash is back on the trash heap. Take her out back and shoot her in the head like a lame horse.
She'll be back there with Apollo Crews eating catering.
Yeah, thanks for doing that cool gimmick and making yourself look like a fool on TV. Get back to catering. Oh, and Rhea Ripley, you're still irrelevant. You don't even factor into the finish. Skeptically optimistic, I'm not on this match. I'm very pissed about this match. This was stupid. I picked Nikki Ash, and a lot of people, most people, 75% actually picked Nikki Ash here because it was the right choice. It was not the right choice to strap Charlotte. It was the right choice to keep it on Nikki Cross. Otherwise, it just shows that they never believed in her. And this whole gimmick was just a stupid little experiment that they had. And they dangled this carrot in front of the poor girl, and now she's going to get tossed in the back again.
Yep.
R.I.P. Nikki Cross.
At some point, we're going to have to move on from the Four Horsewomen of NXT. I've been saying that, I feel like, for 2 years now. And nothing
it's
has
a
changed.
mantra to you.
Nothing. It's going to become my new Twitter bio. Like, at some point, we're going to have to move on. Well, what have we done? We've got Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair as champions again. Sasha Banks is out. Obviously, Bayley's out with an injury.
The only reason that they're not champs is because they're out.
Okay, I do want to address something. All vitriol aside,
they'd be tag champs again.
Do you think there's a possibility this was a hot shot because there is some scuttlebutt going around that Rhea Ripley did sustain some kind of injury during this match? Do you think
I haven't heard anything about that. I don't think. No, it wasn't called in the fly.
Okay.
Too specific of a finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we had
Imagine
we
if
had Rhea Ripley in
was
a figure eight. Nikki Ash comes over the top with a seated senton, breaks it up, basically throws Rhea out of the ring, puts Nikki Ash in a figure eight, taps out. And I'm sitting here going, those two against one woman could not defeat her. She absolutely earned that title.
Yeah, she did. But here's the thing, and here's the thing. If you're gonna, if you want to make Charlotte out to be the best, cool. She proves it. She's got the talent. She has the mic skills. Like, if that's her gimmick, great. Make her out to be the best. No problem. Oh, wait. No, there is a problem. The problem is, who do you have face her? You've made a female Brock Lesnar, and it limits, when you already have a limited women's division that you have a hard time building up legitimate challengers in, to make someone be an unstoppable monster like that is going to make your booking really difficult going forward. See Carmella and Bianca. So I don't have a problem with Charlotte being an unstoppable monster. I don't have a problem with that. But, you know, given the rest of the division, unless you're going to pay it off where Rhea Ripley at some point is able to get that elusive win over Charlotte, they haven't even built that to make us want to anticipate it.
This was number 12 for Charlotte, right?
Something like that. She's catching up.
Yeah.
She's catching up to daddy.
Watch out, Randy.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I've got nothing else to say about this. I said my piece.
I said mine too.
I said my piece about this.
Kyle wants to say his piece. He's with 100 bits. Thank you, sir. Said everyone hated Rhea Ripley's knees in this match. Also, not only this match, the marketing of this match outside Raw made it clear who WWE saw as stars, and the only one in this match they didn't see as a star in the marketing was Nikki ASH.
She wasn't popular with the Vegas crowd either. And this is the thing. It's very popular. WWE looked at her reaction and said, okay, nice try. But they never really got behind her.
No.
They didn't make her a champion that could win. They didn't give her any merch. Like, it was a doomed project from the start. It's another trope for WWE where they give you a little bit of rope and say, why can't you tie a knot? And you say, because you gave me an inch worth of rope.
Yeah.
Okay, where's the knot? But I don't have enough rope to make a knot. You're fired. Can't make a rope. Pfft. this one. It was ridiculous.
Also, if I can be a nerd for
sad.
a moment, that was a fail on the outfit, Charlotte. You missed an Infinity Stone.
That's right. It's supposed to be 6.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
You're missing the yellows, which is known as the Mind Stone.
Yes, you're missing the Mind Stone. Yeah. Apparently, she doesn't need the Mind Stone. She already has the time. What is it? Time, soul. I'm not even gonna.
Time, soul, power, space, mind.
Gotcha.
I'm missing one. I can't think of the 6th one. Damn it!
Power.
I said power.
Oh.
Time, soul, mind, space, power.
Spirit?
No.
Oh, it's soul. It's soul, spirit. Anyway,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'd rather talk about the Infinity Stones in this match. Let's move on and talk about the next one. That's the other one you picked right. I picked wrong.
Trying to tell you guys.
Edge.
It was coming. It was on the wall. Writing was on the wall for me.
For a man who thinks WWE needs to get away from the 4 Horsewomen, you sure were pessimistic about that match, and it paid off.
Yeah.
Edge versus Seth Rollins was next. Seth comes out in a Matador outfit. Why? I think it has to do with him dodging the spear. Only thing I can think. But it was adorable. He came out, normal entrance, crowd hated him. And then they started playing the Brood music.
And Ian lost his mind.
I was right back to being a kid again.
Yeah.
I went from like...
He even comes up through the elevator in the fire with the glasses on.
Smoke coming off of him.
Yeah.
Screaming, like looking like he was singed. Like it just with the long... Oh, it was badass. Just the music. The only downside... So that actually brought me back from the whole Charlotte Nikki thing, which I was hot. About, if you couldn't tell. That brought me back, and I was like, oh, God, Edge is the Brood. And then like he walks down the ramp, throws his hands up, and we go right back to his regular entrance. I was like, oh, that's it? I don't anymore? Oh.
How can we get both of the pops from Edge on this entrance? Oh, I know.
I gotta say, somewhere Gangrel shed a single bloody tear.
Right.
They
should have lit that whole place up red and had him come to the ring.
Me.
And the thing I want to say about this match is for a blood feud.